What is good, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Week 1. Let's talk about it. It is the big ticket. I'm your host, Vic 3. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Listen, we got a big show today. It's Lions Week, week 1. I got some fellas in here in the backstage. They're ready to go. But let's bring the guys on. Again, this is very early in the morning, something that Vic doesn't really do that much, but it's week 1. We got the Eagles starting up at 1 o'clock today, again, in Detroit. So again, without further ado, let's bring on the host. First of all, we got one of the most intelligent Eagles fans out there who takes his time, well articulate. We got my guy, Lindy Endzone. Lindy, how we doing today?
Good to be back on the platform for a little bit here, man. And as always, to just seize the opportunity to talk some birds. And this one's special because week 1's finally here. All the anticipation that we built up since the beginning of the offseason, which seemed a near flawless performance by Howie Roseman doing his business. Now it's time for the Eagles to do their business and make them proud, so to speak.
Definitely. And next we have, one of the youngest YouTube Eagles content creators out there, but his age does not doesn't stunt his intelligence at all. He's very well spoken. He knows what he's talking about. We got my guy, Big Play Slate, aka Manny Manuel. What's good?
Many men wish that the palmy had a boy. What's good, everybody? How y'all doing? I'm glad you had me on. The last couple times on the big ticket. I appreciate you having me again. It's always an honor, man. It's always an honor to talk football. Gotta rep it, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, I always love talking with you. Even like I said, age does not matter with you. You know what you're talking about. You know your football. You know more than most adults know. So you mean I love having you in your brain. But next we have my guy. He's ruling over the Twitter Spaces out there with Eagles content. We got my guy Shea W. What's good, Shea?
Hey man, had to put the hat on for you, so
Yes, sir.
There we go.
The only thing I got, it might be a little warm for this, but it's all good, man. Hey man, appreciate you having me on here, bro. When you asked me to come on here, that was an easy answer, bro. That was an easy yes. Week 1, baby, we here.
Oh,
sir, Shea.
Hey, appreciate you taking out the time, man. And like I said, man, I love what you're doing in the Twitter Spaces. You're putting the Eagles name out there, and you're putting some respect on that name. I like that. I like it a lot.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. But next, finally, last but not least, we have an unbiased guest. He's a Jaguars fan. He is out there. You know him from the ECG network. My guy from the Handoff. We have Dante. What's good, Dante? And he got the Eagles jersey on. Representing.
Represent today, man.
ECG.
Represent today. What's up, fellas? How's everybody doing, man? As some people like to say, football is back, but we know that happened 2 weeks ago. So
it wasn't week 0. Week 1 was the first week of football for college football.
Oh, it was a big night last night too, man. It was a huge night.
6 upsets.
Yeah.
Yep. Talk about
But anything can happen today. You never know, man. Anything can happen today.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into it because again, listen, we know we're playing against the Detroit Lions, but I don't think that you should take them with a grain of salt. They're a team that should be respected. But before we get it started with off of that, let's say what's up to everybody in the chat that came through. Let me appreciate these people. First, we got BLSG, loyal, longtime member, always retweeting out there. One of the first to comment. Appreciate you for coming through this early in the morning. Papa Sora, Papa, where are you? You're supposed to be on the show. What's going on, my guy?
I'm here before Sora.
Yeah, man. Listen, everybody that came through, Jinx Wolf, appreciate you so much for coming through. Like I said, BLSG, Papa's out there. My guy, Normal Guy, thank you. Loyal member. Stephen Joyce, what's good, my guy? Appreciate you for the trade. We got a couple of more things to talk about later on, but for now, we'll just keep it pushing. Papa again. Oh, we got Drew Johnson. Thank you so much for coming so early. Again, this isn't something I normally do, but I'd like to show appreciation to everybody that came through.
Sora said you never sent the link.
Oh, you never sent him the link. Damn.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, damn. He fumbled on the 1 yard line.
This brother here, bro. Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so.
Yo. Hold on.
That's
See,
crazy,
now I feel like an idiot. So that's my fault.
There you go.
You crazy, bro.
Let's correct this right now. Boom. Very short.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Normal Guy.
It's not his fault at all. It's all mine. So I apologize for that. Oh, Normal Guy, happy birthday, my guy. That's what's up.
Yeah, happy birthday, dude. How old are you, bro?
I don't think we'll get it
And
in the
and,
comment
and
chat now.
should Coach be up here too?
Oh,
I
here we
thought
go.
we
Oh,
could
I think
Coach
Papa's having
too.
some issues, but now we
Oh,
got him. Here we go. The man, the myth, the legend.
How you gonna
George
say you
Kittle
supposed to be up
lookalike.
if you don't send me the link?
Damn, it's
there it
hella
is.
dark
I
right now.
Everybody
honestly
can have
thought
it.
I did send it. I apologize. I thought I had my ducks in a row, and apparently I wasn't.
No,
I
you were
suck.
like,
CPS, did you check up on Jordy lately? No, his
Oh
friend
yeah,
Harry.
Jordy. Yeah, of course, of course, of course. He must be salty after what happened yesterday. Oh my
Oh,
goodness,
yeah,
man,
that
because
was
he's a
Jordy,
crazy.
Notre Dame
I
fan.
apologize, man.
I was
R.I.P.
just
to
like,
Notre Dame and the
man,
whole
come
program.
on now.
That boy, a
But
Notre Dame fan.
before we get this started up, let me just say something on a serious note. We all know today is September 11th.
Yeah,
We all knew the tragedy that took place. Um, Let me just say to everyone, that's been affected with it, my sympathies, my condolences, and let's just give a moment of silence, for the people that we lost 21 years ago today. Now, hey, listen. And on that note, we talked about the tragedy of life passing. Let's bring it back to the celebration of life. So, my guy, normal guy, happy birthday, my guy. I wish you nothing but the best and many, many more birthdays to come in the future. So, fellas, like we said, today is the first week of football. We all know what took place last week in college. We all know what happened on Thursday between the Rams and the Bulls. Excuse me, Bulls, the Bills. But
he said the
I know,
Bulls.
right? But let me, go around the horn, and I'll start off with you, Lindy. What is your excitement level for today's game?
I think as an Eagles fan, my excitement is just as equal as anybody else's, and I talked a little bit about it in some minor context when I was brought on. This entire offseason, it was just the question as to what Howie Roseman was ultimately going to do in further constructing the football team. If Jalen Hurts was going to be the answer moving forward, we talked about the Deshaun Watson situation. Russell Wilson was up in the air. Even some Eagles fans were talking about Aaron Rodgers potentially coming here if he wasn't happy over in Green Bay. But at the end of the day, I think we're I think we're better. I think we're better constructed than a lot of people anticipated us being. To be honest, I do not see a massive weakness on this team whatsoever. Each core position has plenty of depth to go from the first string beyond. To have only to have a few players in a combination on IR and the pup list that aren't top stringers, we're we're in pretty good shape for week one right now. It's fantastic.
Oh, it definitely is. Again, we've had a long 6-month drought of no football, and now we're going to get flooded with games today. We've been spoiled, last week, but today is the day we've all been waiting for. Big play Slay. Let me get your excitement level on today's game.
It's a 10. It's definitely a 10 because we added AJ Brown this offseason. That's what everyone's been talking about. That's what everyone's gonna be looking at. It's gonna be like 10 cameras at AJ Brown, bro. He's gonna be everywhere, bro. You're just gonna see him. You can see AJ Brown this way, AJ Brown the other way. Like that's all you're gonna be seeing today. But I'm excited to see those other guys we picked up too in the offseason. Um, we got Zach Pascal, uh, Kaiser White. Those guys should be mentioned a lot more, man, because they did a lot for their teams last year. I mean, Pascal was hurt, but he's done a couple things for his team when he was healthy. And then with Kaiser White, he was amazing last year. So I'm excited for what's gonna happen in this game, man. It's really high. It's good to see some Eagles football back. Um, and it's really just good to see Jalen Hurts out there. I want to see how he looks, man. So can't wait, dude.
Oh,
Thank
listen,
you,
you are
Drew.
not
By the
the
way,
only one waiting to see what Jalen Hurts looks like. With as much conversation that there been this all season about, Jalen Hurts, was he doing enough in the off season? What is he going to look like now with Nick Sirianni's offense? There's going to be a lot of questions to answer today. Maybe some will still be left in the air. We'll see. But Papa, let me get your thoughts. What's your excitement level for today's game?
What's that one song? The I'm so excited. Yeah. I'm really excited for this game. I'm just excited to see all the games in general. I do agree though, they're not going to be like yesterday's games, but even besides that fact, they're still going to be very good games. I had to pull out the custom Miles Sanders spray painted hoodie. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's get it going as I double check and make sure everybody's set up on my fantasy team.
Yeah, if you have not done so,
I
please
did
make sure you set up your lineups right now. A lot of us take that time and think we'll get to it later, and then you find out the game's already started and you're locked in with someone you didn't want on your roster. So take the time out, set up your fantasy teams right now, and
make
if
sure
have
you
a good
refresh
trade
that page.
Right.
Yeah, refresh that page. And if you
I
got a
do wanna
good
say-
fair trade to offer, push it out there. Don't come out with no funky stuff. Steven, I'm talking to you.
I do want to say, this was me. This was me. The link.
Yo.
Again, I thought I was on my game this morning. I was off. I was off by a little bit. Let's hope the
Yo,
Eagles aren't
Vic.
off like that.
They let me get Debo. They let me get Debo and Diggs, bro. Y'all done messed up with that, bro. Y'all let me get two of the best wide receivers in the game. Y'all done messed up.
And listen, the man may be late, but the man is still on time. We got my co-host.
Did you
in the
also not
building,
get the
Jerry
link?
Lee? What is good, my guy?
What's going on, guys? I thought you said 12
What's
o'clock,
good,
brother.
Oh no, you're fine. Listen. Like I said, this is the first time we do something this early. I'm sure there's going to be some miscues here and there, but we're all here now. That's all that matters. But Dante, as a Jaguars fan, a fan of football in general, what is your excitement level on today's game?
I think a lot of games are going to be very interesting today. The way that they set the week 1 matchups, I mean, especially for me, like the Jaguars going to Washington, to me that's interesting just because of the Carson Wentz situation and how they restructured their team. But with the Eagles today, I think if you guys don't show up and show out against the Lions, it's going to be a complete demolisher for the next like 2 or 3 games, which I think you guys are going to start out pretty slow, to be completely honest. Like, I've been very critical of a lot of teams and what they've been re-signing and what they've been who they signed, who they traded for, what they've done. And I still think, to your guys' credit, Kaiser White was a top 3 signing in the offseason, bar none. Because it doesn't take a scheme to tackle. I keep telling people this. Like, he's going to be all over the place. You've seen it a little bit in the preseason. The one that I'm still scratching my head on is Hassan Reddick, because I don't think he shows up in big games. But some people are very high on him, and I'm not there yet. So he's got a lot to prove for me. Your defense, I think, is going to be fine. Where the question marks may lie and where everybody is going to be very critical of the Eagles this season is your offense. For the fact that your running back room is very deep, but it doesn't seem like Nick Sirianni or nobody knows who the true number 1 is going to be for the rest of the season, which I think that was the confusion last year. Now you have this relationship with A.J. Brown. Now you have Devontae Smith and how he's going to fit in, and Dallas Goedert. I know he's had some drop problems and things like that. Like, how are they going to open up the field? Because they got enough people to do it, to weave in and out. So however you guys are going to mix it up is however you guys are going to mix it up. I did want to call out probably the most interesting game today. Well, this very first week is the Steelers versus the Bengals. Like, to me, straight up, I think that is the most interesting game for the fact that the Steelers have rebuilt just like you guys in a lot of different areas, and they signed a lot of good people, and their depth is like absolutely crazy. And then you had the Bengals coming off a Super Bowl win to see if they kind of keep up their head of steam. But I don't know. The Lions are an interesting team, and you guys, I think you guys are going to have your hands full, like, for the very first week, just for the fact that the Lions have really nothing to lose. The spotlight, even though they were on the Hard Knocks series, the spotlight is not hard on them like it is the Eagles, because everybody that you talk to, we should win our division. We should win our division. We should be a 12, 13 win team. Like, the pieces that Howie's been putting together, it's like every single week you hear Eagles news about them re-signing somebody or restructuring a deal at this point. So you guys have like a huge spotlight on you, which the more pressure's on you guys, and if you lose to the Lions, Eagles Twitter's going to go crazy, man. I already know. I can't wait.
Listen.
Oh, man,
Nah, I want us to lose so bad.
We are all about the overreaction. again. And listen, you are 1,000%. Listen, the Eagles have all the pressure. The Lions do not. As you
Yeah.
mentioned, we saw on Hard Knocks when
And if they
Williams was
win,
talking
it's a
I'm
about,
really
gonna
big
put the
win.
spotlight on him. The hard knocks.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And Dan
Yeah.
Gamble, second year. I mean, he gotta produce too. So they got a spotlight on him too. So
I think
I think it's perfect what their backup running back Williams was saying. Every
Yeah.
time he comes into the office in the building, and he's tired, or he sees people just complacent. He thinks about last year's record, and that fuels him. That's going to fuel the whole team. Everyone that was on that team last year, even those rookies that came in, they got a taste of what it was from last year from all those veterans talking to them and letting them know what they went through last season. They're not going to want that same taste in their mouth. They're going to come out here and they're going to be on firing on all cylinders.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone sleeps on the Lions. They say, their coaching staff, they don't have that, that good of a coaching staff. Their players aren't good. But one thing that they have, and a lot of people in the NFL don't have, is heart. The Lions have a ton of it. Again, they have grit. They're going to come out. They're going to play. They're getting better as they go. The Lions coaching staff, just like their team, are growing together. So yeah, they're going to have some hiccups here and there. But once they hit it off, it's going to be crazy. And you can't sleep on Jared Goff. That's one thing a lot of people do. They discredit Jared Goff because of what happened in LA. You got to think about it. He was coming into his own then. He wasn't fully matured. Now with Detroit, again, a lesser talented team, but now he's the guy who runs the show. And you see Jared Goff has been playing better. But let me not talk anymore. We still got one guy I want to hear his opinion on.
And
Shea
just real
W.
quick, Vic.
What's good?
I was gonna throw in there. I don't think they have the pressure because like the Packers have been winning that division for forever. How long? And the Lions have been at the bottom of the list. So and they haven't had any like off the wall like crazy signing this offseason like the Eagles have had. It's like people are saying like if the Eagles don't win a division, it's a bust. Like the Lions are not saying that. Everybody's hopeful that the Lions are going to be good because of the aura that's around them right now with Dan Campbell, but they don't have a superstar signing. If you're saying DJ Chark is a superstar signing, you're crazy.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
and that's why I think we're gonna win. You know what I mean? Because like all of our players are pretty much elite. You know what I mean? And well, not all of them, but you know what I mean. We have a good portion of elite players. So I just think the talent's just going to be overwhelming for them.
They said the same thing about the Browns 2 years ago.
I feel there's a difference in emphasis on expectation. I mean, you look at the Lions, and the Lions are still in a phase in trying to develop a foundation for years and years in hitting the reset button at such a core level. Well, now they're trying to get to a point where the Eagles were this offseason, where they already had a foundation, but there was a lot of there was a lot of those top dominoes to speak, between individuals on the coaching staff and other key positions of need, and for some of these coordinators to run the scheme to its top potential. So I think the emphasis and expectation is completely different between these two teams, and that's why there's more of a fuss on Philly than there is Detroit.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. But I think the pressure that's coming from Detroit is from their own players. Like I said,
Sure,
they've been in the gutter for so long; they're tired of it, and there's only one way to go, and that's up. But
it would be
Shea,
a big confident boost if they win.
Oh heck yeah, Shea, let me get your thoughts. What is your excitement level on today's game?
Can you see the goosebumps on my arm, bro?
You saying can you see the goosebumps?
I'm so excited. It's almost making me nervous, man. But the only reason I'm nervous is because I know it should happen, but there's always the X factor of something else happening. Like us losing or us struggling more than I think we should. I am looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to seeing all the pieces we have come together. One of the things that's underrated about the pieces that we added to is that we aren't necessarily like changing the foundation of our roster when we made those moves, right? Like we had guys here. We just need to add on top of it. I think that's what we did, and we did it well. The storyline of Detroit coming out with nothing to lose, no pressure on them, young team. I understand that too. Don't underestimate how the Eagles players feel coming back from getting their ass whooped in the playoffs like they did. Like I'm sure the guys there, they come back, they want to be able to prove like, hey, like you're not gonna be able to do that Like the good teams in the league, like we're gonna be one of those as well. Like I feel like they're gonna have something to prove as well. I hope that I see that on the field. So I'm a little nervous about that I don't see that, but I'm really excited. Like man, it's like I was up to like 4 or 5 o'clock last night because I felt like a kid before Christmas Day, man.
Hell yeah, we got a big present to unwrap.
Right. But it could be
Hopefully it's a good one.
I can either get
Yeah.
the new system or I can get a big ass lump of coal today. So
You're right.
we'll see.
You made a perfect point where there's people on this team that have something to prove. I think everyone, you look at it, you got Jalen Hurts. So much has been said about him. You have Miles Sanders. So much doubt has been put on him. You have the offensive line. Can Jason Kelsey be healthy? Can Lane Johnson be healthy? Is Isaac Seumalo the guy who can take care of that right side? Then you're talking about the defense. Can this young linebacking core get it together? Can Kaiser White be the player that, be that mistake that the Chargers made in letting him go? Bradbury, New York doesn't think of him much, so they let him go. Everyone on this team has something to prove, and that's what I like about it, because it isn't them trying to prove that they're the best. No, they're trying to prove that they are capable and they are good football players first. So that's what they're going to want to put out. They're going to want to show everyone that they're good football players. And again, this team coming together, like CJ said when he came over, when they traded for him, it's like a family. As soon as you come through, everyone's greeting you. Everyone has that, they have that family feel to them. So I think this team's going to come together, and like I said, everyone has something to prove, and that's only going to pay dividends for us because they're going to come out and play the hardest. But we got everyone on the field now. Let's talk about the injury updates. So far, from what I'm showing, everyone's going to be on the field aside of Andre Dillard. We got Miles Sanders, Javon Hargrave, Derek Barnett, Isaiah Scott will all be available. They were all full goals at practice on Friday. Now, with Dillard being out, there's a question. Who's going to back up Jordan Mailata? A lot are saying Jack Driscoll. What do you think? Who do you think would be best suited to take care of that left tackle spot if, in the event, there was something happen to Jordan Mailata? Let me start off with you, Shea.
Sorry.
Probably LaRaven Clark. They probably pull him off the practice squad and play him there if we had to. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Driscoll's experience with the left tackle. I know he's he plays a lot of places. Like right tackle, I know he has experience at. Then guard, but I haven't seen him do left tackle, so I'm not sure. So I imagine if anything was to happen to Mailata, they probably we'll see what they do today with the roster. I don't know if they said anything about promoting LaRaven Clark for future games and so forth, or even today they probably already have done that with. I know that Kobe is going to be playing today, so. But I would imagine, in long term, if something was to happen, they would go with LaRaven Clark.
Hey, that sounds good, LaRaven. We brought him in here. We signed him to a contract. We haven't seen him much in the preseason, but hey, we do need someone to fill in just in case. Dante, as an outsider, and you've seen the Eagles line, you know how the offensive line works. Who do you think would be capable enough to fill in for Jordan Mailata if, in case that were to happen, where he would be injured?
Jack Driscoll. I agree with that statement because in college he played tackle most of the time. Only when he got to the NFL he started cross training and being a guard. So
he was a right tackle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a tackle is a tackle. You're still blocking the outside guy. Strong side and weak side changes every time depending on defensive schemes. Now you're just worrying about one side playing on the C gap now. So with that being said. He has to worry about guys that can play 5 and 6 technique, on the left side. It's a lot. We all know it's a lot harder than it seems, but it's not like you're not plugging somebody that doesn't know how to play tackle and watch his left or right shoulder, between the gaps. So, with that being said, he's the best guy. It might not yield the results that you want to see, but do you want to put a guy that's experienced, or do you want to put a guy that has not taken offensive snap, against the nasty pass rushes that are coming? Because, who knows? For the Lions, for example, today, who knows where Aiden Hutchinson is going to line up, and who knows if this kid is going to actually be what everybody's talking about. It could be a total surprise. So, yeah, you go with the guy that at least has some type of experience. I mean, that's like us in all our jobs, right? Would you want some guy that kind of has the experience, or some guy that's totally brand new that's training and it's his first day on the job? That's kind of how I look at it. Always in my mind, logically, experience always wins.
Definitely. Papa, what are your thoughts? Who do you think could fill in the need just in case Mailata is out? Do you think Driscoll's the guy, or is there someone else capable of doing it?
Yeah, I think there's this guy called Vic Three. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Hey,
Dante kind
give
of
me the
pretty much
opportunity. I'm there.
put me
Yeah.
in, coach. Put me in, Nick.
Put me in,
Yeah,
coach.
I mean, I think Dante kind of pretty much took what I was gonna say. Driscoll back in Auburn, he did play. He played tackle kind of in the NFL. That's when we saw him transition to right guard just because of the injuries. And I mean, even his rookie year against Chase Young, when he had to come in for a right tackle, he was handling Young well. Young was not able to beat him. It was when he went out that Young was able to start heating up in that game. But yeah, I mean, I do kind of think if a tackle goes down, whether it be Mailata or Lane, then yeah, I think you got Driscoll. I think if that happens though next week, you'll see like a LaRaven Clark get elevated off of the practice squad just for depth, depending on how long the injury is. But yeah, I think Driscoll is your backup tackle. The only other thing I could see, which I think would just be stupid, would be you see Landon Dickerson move to tackle, and then they put Cam Jurgens at the left guard to sub that in, which I don't think they'll do, but that is an option. It's a weird option and shouldn't be done, but that is an option.
Hey, that's a great point because I know that was being tossed around because a lot of people think that Jurgens can't fill in that guard spot, and we know Driscoll can play on the outside if need be.
It would be another situation with Dickerson. It's like, this is our center. Never mind, he's really good at guard.
Yup.
There's another name we forgot. Josh Sills also is on our team.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's a good point. Josh Shields is on.
I forgot. I thought he got.
Yeah, I thought
he was on the practice squad.
No,
Hey, he made the team. He beat Jack Anderson. Also.
If my man Stoutland believes you were able to make this team in that manner, I believe he probably has something.
Agreed.
Oh yeah, and Stoutland we trust to the fullest. If he says that man can go, then we put all belief in that person. But Slay, let me get your thoughts. I heard you speak on it a little bit, but what do you think? Do you think Driscoll's the guy that could fill in if need be?
I mean, I think with Driscoll, it's really like I think Driscoll is the guy, but like I don't know, man, because I'm an Auburn fan. I watched him play at Auburn, and I know how he is. He's better at the right side than the left side. Because if you rotate him to that right side, it's not gonna be fun. But what do you have to lose? Like that's all I'm saying. Like what do you have to lose? Jordan Mailata is really, really good, but behind that, there's really nothing there. So I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know, dog. I really don't.
Yeah, it can get scary when you think about it. Hopefully there are no injuries, but you do have to have a backup plan. Lindy, let me get your thoughts. Is Jack Driscoll the guy who is capable enough to fill the need at left tackle if need be?
I got one name for y'all, and Shea has already said it. Jeff Stoutland, and Stout we trust. The answer is a lot easier than you think, because for how many years we have known that Jeff Stoutland has set the precedent of what he wants and what he looks for in the offensive line for the Eagles. If you're good enough to be on that roster and you're a selection of Stoutland, then you have to have some pretty high level of talent, some high level of capability in creating that versatile skill set that you need to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. If he feels that Jack Driscoll is capable of doing that, then he's going to go with the guy that he trusts the most. And to the point of elevating off the practice squad, I believe the Eagles would have had to elevate LaRaven Clark yesterday, I believe, before the game. I think there's a deadline. I think the day before there's a deadline in which you can elevate players off of the practice squad, like we've seen Britton Covey and Noah Togiai elevated. So that would make LaRaven ineligible to play, to my knowledge. But yeah, man, Driscoll was one of Stoutland's teacher's pets, so to speak, like one of his top projects that he has created. Unfortunately, he dropped down in the depth chart because of guys like Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata going across the trenches there, and Lane Johnson's still here. Isaac Seumalo came back from that Achilles injury. pretty pretty heroically the way that we watched Brandon Brooks do the same thing. Jason Kelsey comes back and he's ready to go week one after getting work done on his elbow, I believe. So, I mean, yeah, in Stout I trust, and he has if he has the utmost confidence in somebody to get the job done, then I'm going to trust what he says.
Hey man, like you said, in Stout we trust, man. And hold on, let me just start off. What's up, Rafa? Thank you for coming through, my guy. Also, Angel3, appreciate y'all. Listen, let me just take a quick time out here to say thank you for everyone who's coming through. If you can, please go to all one of these gentlemen's channels, even if for the YouTube spaces for Shea. Hit that like when you see that notification for those spaces. Come on, man, jump on, chat if you can. And if you can, I know a lot of the people that come and watch these shows on my channel are not subscribed. So if you can, please hit that subscribe button, hit a like, and drop a comment once in a while. It helps out the algorithm. But
So hold up, real quick.
what you got? What you
Going
got?
back to the Josh Sills, they just put the inactives out.
Okay.
Ian Book, Reed Blankenship, Trey Sermon, Josh Sills, Teron Jackson, and Grant Calcaterra. Those are the inactives for today.
Oh, there we go. Appreciate you, Papa, for the update.
Guy
I
Grant.
just saw that. I was like, wait a minute.
Hey, that's what's up. I like that. Hard hitting news. We
Stats
get it.
Guru Jr.
Yeah, exactly.
No. After watching that man in action the other day, no.
Well, talking about someone in action, and this is someone who we've seen in action, but a lot of times he's not really available. And I'm talking about Miles Sanders. Great talent, can produce on the field, but he comes up with an injury history. Again, no fault of his own. But the thing is, as we said throughout the whole offseason, the best ability is availability. Miles Sanders has not been available. Hell, this whole training camp, let's be honest. When we signed the deal to get Trey Sermon, next week we found out Miles is back on the practice field, and he's going to be a gopher today. So let me get everyone's opinion, and I'll start off with you, Lindy. What are your thoughts about Miles Sanders going into week one?
Performance-wise, I mean, right now it's up in the air. I think the premise here is not so much about his workload and what he gets, but how he handles the workload he is given. Hamstring injuries, as we know, are hard to come back from fully. So I'm going to be looking towards more of his conditioning, how he looks throughout the game, so long as there is a consistency there, because we're in a position that we're going to be looking for this guy the whole 17 game season. Miles has averaged about 11 to 13 games a year, because he always seems to have these ticky-tack injuries. I predicted earlier in the offseason that he was going to play at most 13 to 14 games. If he can play at least 14, I think there's a little bit of a success there with him. But again, when we always talk about the best ability is availability, and you're not on the field to consistently display your talent, that's a problem. We invested a second-round pick in this guy, teammate to Saquon Barkley at Penn State. It's time to put all your chips to the table. Take care of yourself, because we're going to need you for the long haul. And I just hope that whatever workload he gets tonight, that he handles it well enough to give us confidence.
Definitely. We're going to need Miles. He's going to be a big factor to what happens this season. But Slay, let me get your thoughts on Miles Sanders going into week one.
Yeah.
What's good, SC? Hold on, I apologize. Let me shout out my guy SC for coming through.
Yeah,
I had shades
Eric.
on. I so long.
Damn it, my shades are in the car.
Hey, and congratulations. Happy first day of the week to you as well.
That's man. But
This is upsetting.
I don't know. Like Lindy said, honestly, I just want to see whatever reps he can get. To be quite honest with you, because like how stacked the offense is, you gotta stop Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. That's gonna give him some carries. Like, let's be honest, it's not gonna always go to the receivers. Like, honestly, I'd rather just have it be 60-40 receiving, and then 40 goes to the running backs, and all the running percentage. But I just want it to be a clean game for Miles. I don't want it to be, injuries. The man's got to step up in big time moments. He hasn't shown that yet. And that is because of his injuries. I'm not gonna discredit someone because of their injury, because that's just not fair. But he's gotta, he gotta be out there more.
Hey, definitely does. that we said before. That's one of the biggest issues
Best
that he has.
availability is ability.
Exactly. And SC, my guy, hey man, safe travels. Hope you get to the game well and you find yourself home safely. But Papa, what are your thoughts on Miles Sanders and him going into week one?
I mean, like I said earlier, I got the custom spray paint with Sanders on the back. I mean, he's going into a contract year, so you're hoping this is a lot that he can prove. And I'm not too worried as some other people were about the no touchdowns thing last season, because despite all the games, he still had like 800 something yards. With like little receiving yards added on top of that. But I mean, obviously, yeah, dude's got to stay healthy. And it might just be because he just doesn't have a lot of tread. Same thing with Barkley. They were both overworked a lot back in college at Penn State.
Yep.
So that's also kind of something to look at. But yeah, I'm hoping the dude can just stay healthy, because I mean, despite his ups and downs, I really do like Sanders. I do think he can be a very good running back. I know this is more of a running back by committee, so I don't know if it's really like this is running back 2, or running back 1, running back 2, all that stuff. But I mean, you gotta hope that Sanders can be the main workhorse of that, especially being a part of the, or especially with us having the #1 rush offense last season, and he wasn't a big part of that because of how much he was injured. So I don't know. It's something you gotta look at. So I'm hoping he can do good. I'm hoping he can get that contract. But at the end of the day, like everybody's been saying, the best availability is availability.
Yeah, listen, Sanders got to prove his worth, and like we said before, it's no fault of his own that he's injured. But the thing is, you have to be on the field, whether it's your fault or not. Injuries can, remove you from a team, however fair or not. But Dante, let me get your thoughts. What do you think about Miles Sanders going into week one?
So he's definitely starting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I think it's high risk, high reward, because you're risking him getting hurt again, in my humble opinion, and he's not known to have a large list of of healthy years. And I've said this before. Like, I don't know why they don't give Kenneth Gainwell more of a chance. The guy has a lot of tread on the tires because they didn't run him a lot at Memphis. They didn't run him a lot last year because they're flip-flopping between 3 running backs, sometimes 4. So it's like, you guys had the deepest, I said this before, they had the deepest running back room. I mean, these guys are averaging 5 yards a carry. Like, just trust somebody. And if you trust in Miles Sanders, I better not see, if he's healthy in the game, I better not see him only get 5 carries and then Kenneth Gainwell get 9 and then Boston Scott come in and get 7. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, it's the NFL. Build confidence in your guys, because you know exactly what happened last year with James Robinson. You better use him before you lose him, because as soon as the Jaguars started using James Robinson, what happened? He got hurt the same week after all the hoopla. So build confidence in your guys. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of honestly, if he's still hurt or battling injury, why waste him getting injured real bad against the Lions in the game that you should theoretically win? I'd tell Miles, like, are you sure? Are you good to go? You still hurting? And he's got to put his ego to the side. Like, think about this team that we got right now. Everybody knows. You guys know. I know. The media knows. Like, the Eagles on paper are a really good freaking team. Why waste it right now? If we can get you to be out for 2 weeks and get yourself 100%, come in, do your thing. But let Kenneth run the rock, man. We're good. Let Kenneth run the rock and be more of an asset of why we get to the Super Bowl than wondering, oh, man, I tore my hamstring completely off now. I can't play the rest of the season, and being the what if he was healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I understand. It's excitement. It's week one. You want to get in there. You've been working all off season, battling injury. It's somebody's got to do an ego check with him. But, if he ends up being great, then all of us are going to sit here and just be like, all right, run him again next week. I just hope they find who that true number one is, because Kenneth Gainwell has a lot of tread on the tires. Run him like crazy if you can. You guys are good back there, man. Just make sure they just need to know this guy's one, this guy's two, this guy's three, just like every other team. Because it's like the depth chart is like Miles Sanders, number one this week. Kenneth Gainwell, he might be the a 1B. Boston Scott 1C. You know, I don't like seeing that, but if he's not healthy enough, yeah, I mean, he's going to play now, so it is what it is. But I hope he has a good game. He's a good running back, man. I said this several years ago before you guys even knew me. He's a really good running back. Probably if you could put him in underrated status when he's completely healthy. Why the guy got 0 touchdowns last year is up for debate, but you know,
Varsity Blues, man.
He could be a consistent 1,000 now with an extra game, 1,200 yard back with 7 touchdowns and giving a lot of value to your team. Just figure it out, you know.
Yeah,
I feel like when we got to the red zone, I feel like the biggest reason he didn't score a lot of touchdowns is because of the fact that we had Jalen Hurts, and we know what he could do with his QB keeper on the 1 yard line.
Yeah, Jalen's a huge factor, especially when you look at it. Jalen sees an opportunity, he's going to take it. Why, and that's one of the things that Jalen is such an opportunistic quarterback, especially in the red zone, that will, take the looks away from Miles. Miles wouldn't really be needed that much in the red zone. But this season, he needs to be on the field. He needs, like I said, the talent is there. That's unquestionable. He has the talent. But the thing is, like we said, this little nagging injuries here and here that keep him out. After a while, that'll total up to a team saying, you know what, we need someone who's more dependable. We need someone that we can rely on. Granted, you have the talent, but we can't depend on that talent if you're never really on the field.
And Slay, you know why that is, right? Like people have PTSD about Cam Newton. Like Cam Newton was like he started to be the real number one red zone threat because he was big, he was dependable, and you never knew if he was going to hand it off to somebody or keep it, which most of the time he kept it and nobody could do anything. You saw it exactly the first 3 games in New England, and nobody could stop that. Jalen Hurts, big guy, dependable, never gets hurt, can run the same thing super fast. Like people are having that, and they want that success around him. So, but they can't do that because that's slowly fading away. As you saw at the end of when Cam Newton was getting locked up in the red zone, it was like you can't do that anymore because people are scheming against that. He's probably going to keep the ball.
Yep.
I mean, all of our running backs, like, let's be honest, like, Miles Sanders, not reliable with the injuries. Boston Scott, he only really does good against the NFC East. Let's just be honest. He only does good against the Giants, and that's probably it. And Washington, he doesn't do anything outside of that. And then you look at Kenneth Gainwell, like, the dude's good, but he can't do anything when we get into the red zone because, like, he's not strong enough to get in. So the D lineman will kill him when he gets to that 1 yard line because he's not a power back. He doesn't play like that. So you can't rely on any of these guys consistently.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why you don't see Gainwell in there that much.
Exactly.
He's a great change of pace, good receiving option, but he can't get you that tough yard that you need, or he can't make that tough run. And that's something that that's something he needs to work.
I mean, we saw it a couple of times though last season.
He had like a couple of good ones, but again, like I said, if it's 3rd and 1, you giving the ball to Gainwell?
Depending on the play, probably not. And that's also why we got Sermon, who's not playing today, but that's a good reason why we got Sermon.
If he plays himself to a position where he can be trusted in there, then you know that he's where he's at. But Shea, my guy, you've been quiet for a little bit. Let me get your thoughts on Miles Sanders going into week 1.
In regards to this game, I think he's going to have a great game. I think he's probably going to eclipse it. If you give him the carries, he'll probably get 100. This is a guy whose yards per carry has been amongst the best, if not the best, in the league since he got into the league. It's just been a matter of volume and then durability issues as far as why haven't we seen more? But I think he'll have a good game today. As far as for this season, that's kind of up in the air, right? I think if he stays healthy, he will. I think he can and will eclipse 1,000 rushing yards for the first time in his career. I think 11 and 1,200, like I think Dante or Papa said, is very realistic. It's just a matter of, are we going to get a consistent Miles? Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Yeah, he's had this hamstring issue, but he's been playing full practice for the past week or so. So he seems to be doing fine. We'll see how that looks in actual gameplay. But yeah, there's a lot on the line for him, man. I have said this for a while now this offseason that I think this is going to be his last year here because he's either going to play his way out of a contract that we can't pay him, or he's going to prove himself not worthy of any contract we can give him to stay long term, and we're going to just let him go and either go for somebody in the draft or go with Gainwell. But I think he has the potential to be a 1,000-yard rush. I think he's always had that. And this is a great chance this year to prove that, especially considering the schedule we have this year. We have one of the easiest schedules in the league, and we have one of the best offensive lines in the league. We have an offensive line run game coordinator who's among the best in the league. So if things go well, then he should be he should be in that 1,000-yard range. But we'll see. In regards to today, though, I do believe he's going to have a good game on both ends. You know, he only played a little bit in the Jets game, but he looked pretty solid. He was moving pretty well. Caught the ball without much effort to it. So that's what you want to see. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm hopeful that he's gonna have a good game and hope he's gonna have a good season. But we just gotta see.
Definitely. Like we've heard Miles talk about it. He had comments last week talking to people out there, when they questioned him if he should be on your fantasy team. He told them flat out, don't pick him. If you want to win your fantasy league, don't pick him. And I don't think he was, he was saying that to say that he's going to have a bad year. It's continue to doubt me and I'm going to show you wrong. I think that's where he was coming from. I think Miles has that attitude where he's heard the talk. Again, he knows it. Best ability is availability. He knows probably by now it's getting on his nerves. And he's going to want to come out here and prove something this year. Like we said earlier, mostly all these players have something to prove to themselves this season. And they're going to show out. But while I'm still with you. Let me ask you this question. We'll jump on. This offseason, during the draft, we took time and we spent a draft pick on former Titan wide receiver A.J. Brown, now a Philadelphia Eagle, best friend to Jalen Hurts. What are your thoughts on A.J. Brown going into today?
He's going for 500 yards, a touchdown.
That's fine.
Go ahead, Shay, what are your thoughts? What do you think about
I'm just
A.J.
saying what the
Brown
rest
today?
of Eagles content creators say.
You know what I want to see, bro? You remember when we had got T.O. and on the first play, it was a bomb, and it was basically a set the tone. Like, look, yeah, this is what's about to happen, and it did happen. That's what I need to see. First play, second play, bomb that shit out. Let leave no doubt in their minds what type of Eagles team is coming to play you this year. I think he could. I think he has. I think the over under may have been like maybe 60 yards and a touchdown, which I take the over all day, especially in this game.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's going to show out. But Dante, let me get your thoughts because you've seen A.J. Brown firsthand many a times. What are your thoughts of him moving to the Eagles, and how do you expect him to play today?
A.J. Brown, and I've been very critical of this move because I'm high on chemistry building throughout the year. I'm not a guy that likes to go off of emotion and say that these guys are going to have chemistry right up front, regardless of how much they work in the offseason. Like, all bets are off when you get hit your first time, and then things start completely changing. But it is good. It is good that him and Jalen do have a connection and this, that, and the third. But do I think it's going to be Derek Carr and Devontae Adams? Absolutely not. But I am hopeful, not only because he's on my fantasy team.
I was about to say, I got.
So he has to do good for me, or I'm gonna start raging. But no, realistically, I think A.J. Brown, his first 5 weeks shows completely out because people are not going to know how to deal with him. We've seen it firsthand in the AFC South, man. Like, the guy's tough. The guy can block. The guy can get open downfield. Yep. He does everything that you guys are, pretty much missing. Because let's be honest, Devontae Smith has always been, I can break out of the route downfield.
A slashing receiver like Justin Jefferson.
Dallas Goedert is going to be your intermediate guy. Like, let him rock out there. You guys have like a true route tree monster that can do everything very, very good. So, and one thing that I don't think he gets enough credit for outside of all of that, the dude had two torn knees in 2020, still had 1,000 yards and made the Pro Bowl. You guys are getting a tough son of a bitch too. Like he's not. So you have Miles Sanders and you have AJ Brown with the same injury. Guess who's going to play like he's not injured every single week? AJ Brown. So he's going to be a complete monster. He's going to be a safety blanket every single time for Jalen. He's smart enough, and I've seen Ryan Tannehill throw some very terrible passes, and I'm high on Tannehill, but he's thrown some wacky passes in his life. And AJ Brown, there's a highlight reel out there of AJ Brown coming back to the ball and saving his life. Like,
Oh yeah.
and if anything, like we talked about the running backs, now you have a guy that's going to be able to block on the outside on tosses now.
Right.
Like
Yep.
it's going to be dangerous, dude. I'm telling you. The first 5 weeks are going to be like, holy shit, this guy is like he's a badass wide receiver. We're going to be talking about him like at the end of the year. Once people start catching on, because they'll start catching on and not and scheming around him, and that's just the nature of the game.
Yeah.
But in the first 5 weeks, people are going to be like, AJ Brown might be the number one wide receiver in the NFL, and that's not me being biased because you guys are up here. That's my true feelings of being able to watch AJ Brown for 3 years in the AFC South and seeing how good the damn dude is. You know, so
I hope no one believes that he's fucking won by the like 5th week of the season.
Bro,
Hell
the
no.
idea
You know
of thinking he
people
would
look-
have the number
You know
one
the
wide
spies are
receiver in
lurking right now,
football.
clipping this shit.
Yo,
Hey, no one's talking about Gesicki right now, so we're good.
yo, my man Devontae Adams, like, I'm here too, you know, like,
and look out for this, and I think it's coming. This is just a bold prediction of mine. You know how you see the two tight end sets, one that's on the line and one that's like right outside the left shoulder or right shoulder of a tight end?
Yep.
Watch AJ Brown line up in that formation and start confusing the shit out of teams.
Boy,
Just
you
because
get
he
me
can block so
excited on
good.
that pause.
well, I wish her scheme was set up that way, but since our like offense isn't like, you know,
You guys don't have a dangerous like
Absolutely.
blocker on tight end, but AJ Brown is big as
no,
shit.
we do.
No, we
Dallas
do.
Goedert.
We have
No,
Dallas
I'm
Goedert and
I'm
Jack
saying I'm
Stoll.
saying as for outside of Dallas Goedert, like
And
Grant,
Jack Stoll.
Jack
but he's
Stoll
saying,
and
like, if
Grant
we're talking
Calkins.
about, like, how, when you look at the
he's-
Rams, one of the things that the Rams are known for is their receivers block. When they're, you know what I'm saying? With Pittsburgh, they block. The Eagles, let's be honest, for the most part, our receivers weren't blocking like that. We didn't
Yeah,
have
but
receivers
Jack
that were
Stoll,
physical
you
enough. When
discredit
you
him.
look at
this
Quez Watkins and Devontae Smith, they're not physical enough to be blocking like that. They're giving you a quick touch and they're going to move out the way. Right now
You're
with AJ Brown, like
discrediting,
Dante is saying, he's going to get physical when it comes time to run. So yeah, I do see that.
And AJ Brown has had to block physical receivers and linebackers. Like, say what you want. Miles Jack, DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard, like the Texans have had Grugier Hill, like these are dudes that you got to step up and block in the run game, and he's been doing it with success, and that's underrated, man. Like I'm telling you, if you guys see that shit, text me. Be
Yo,
like,
Vic.
ah, damn, you son of a bitch.
Speaking of Grugier Hill, I know you remember him. We all remember him because we all
Yeah,
Eagles
yeah.
fans. Most of us are Eagles fans here. But I don't know what happened to that man, bro. But ever since he got into the Texans, that man been amazing. Like, he been amazing with them, bro. Like, I don't know what happened to him.
Well, I
Got
think
in.
it was that team was patient with him. That's what it was. Like, we weren't really patient. We weren't in a position to.
He's
be
all
patient.
around, bro. That man.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out our linebacking core, and at the time, they didn't see it because they were just trying to get the best fit. And they moved on from him, and you've seen he flourished for another team. That's one person that you will constantly hear Eagles fans say, we didn't spend enough time on him. But again, at the time when he was here, no one was talking about Grugier Hill. No one wanted him on that team. It's only after
with
that.
them now.
Let me get your thoughts while I'm talking to you now. What are your thoughts on AJ Brown from today?
I think AJ Brown's gonna do solid. I don't think it's gonna be like something like elite. Because it's the first game. Now, who you really should be paying attention to, and no one's talking about him, is Devontae Smith. Bro, we
Yes.
act like this. Y'all act like the Slim Reaper's still not on this team, man. Like, y'all just like discrediting Smitty like he didn't do anything last year. I mean, in Eagles history, right now, he's the number one wide receiver for all rookies in Eagles history. And that's just his first year. And mind you, this was the same guy the same guy that was in a running back, by committee, right? And he was still barely getting the ball like that. He was getting like 4 receptions a game, but he gets like 100 yards against the Chargers, 100 yards against the Chiefs. Like the dude is nice, bro. Like, and I don't know why people aren't looking at him this year. Like, he's gonna be one of those fantasy sleepers. I don't know why. The fact that we just got AJ Brown, that's gonna overlook everything, overshadow everything. AJ's good, but Devontae's good too. Like, let's not do him like that. So, but I think AJ Brown's gonna have about 80 something like yards, 90 something yards,
Nope.
maybe. I don't think it's much too much. I don't think they want to expose the offense too much for the Vikings. Yeah, and I know you see what Logan just put. That man, but I'm about to be $300 richer.
Oh, you putting 3 on Detroit? Listen, you better talk to your dad before you make that move.
He already owes. He already
I
owes
don't know where
Zion
he's getting this
$200.
money from. Like,
He also already
bro,
owes Zion $200, bro.
Oh,
where is
listen.
he?
All right. First of all, gambling is an addiction. Let's pull back on that, my guy. You're so young.
Right.
You don't need.
Yeah,
You don't need to
18
start off on the wrong foot. But Lindy, let me get your thoughts. What do you expect from AJ Brown today?
I expect AJ Brown to be the physical specimen that he is. Dante's point in bringing up the Vegas Raiders is a pretty interesting comparison to me. When you look at the big three of the Raiders, and you got Waller, Hunter Renfro, and Devontae Adams. Well, you can arguably say the Eagles have a big three in their own when you put Goddard, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith into the mix. They all have a specified role. They do it very well. To Slay's point, that's all people have been talking about in training camp and joint practices when it comes to Devontae Smith. Whoever he went up against, not a single person can cover this kid because of how darn good of a route running extraordinaire that he is. He keeps people on their toes constantly. So when you add the threat of a physical receiver that can do a little bit of everything in AJ Brown, the defense is good. I mean, you're just asking for more work that the defense has to do. Like you have to make a decision. Who can you afford to double cover? Are you going to be able to stack the box as much as you want because of how good the Eagles' run game is? So we can take advantage against D lines with our offensive line, how athletic they are. I mean, we saw what Cam Jurgens was doing in preseason games and how he's being developed behind Jason Kelsey. It doesn't look like we're going to miss a beat when Kelsey leaves. But you look at the whole package, and AJ Brown is just a perfect complement to what the Eagles have been missing offensively. They've done their homework on how he was with the Titans, so this was an easy move for them to do. And then you just have the luxury of him and Hurts being best friends. But aside from all that, when you look at another intangible, there, I don't see or I don't feel any sense of selfishness across almost all of our playmakers on this football team. They're gonna put the team first. They're not gonna put their statistics first because they just want to win football games. And I think that quality is easily missed, and it's just going to further elevate the potential success that this team can have. And AJ Brown could very well be another Pro Bowler this year.
Agreed 1,000%, man. There's a lot of talent on this team, especially with AJ Brown. I think we haven't seen the full potential of what he can do yet. Because again, he's another guy who was often injured with Tennessee. But I think with Philadelphia, again, we have a lot of specials. We have a lot of people that can take off pressure from AJ, which that's something he didn't have in Tennessee. They didn't really have another receiver behind him. Yeah, they had Corey Davis, but he wasn't that much. But Slade touched on it a little bit. And let me ask you, Lindy, I'll start off with you. You see a big day for Devontae Smith today?
I absolutely do. Depending, of course, on the Lions' game plan. on the Lions' game plan defensively. They have to pick their poison. Do they want to stop the run, or do they want to subject themselves to being attacked over the middle or down the field? We have plenty of playmakers that can attack all three. Levels offensively. But I do want to touch on the other idea in that, what we just seen in the very first game from the NFL when you watch the Rams and the Bills game. The Rams defense got absolutely murdered by the quick pass game with Josh Allen and the Bills. They did not give the pass rush any time to get to him. A little. I would think a little after the first quarter. I think that sack that Aaron Donald had, Josh Allen just gave up on the play and moved forward in the pocket a little bit, like he put himself into the sack, so to speak. But nonetheless, I think that's one thing that the Eagles can take advantage of if they really want to, against a team that, if they want to be over aggressive, that's one way that they can take advantage of the Lions, the quick pass game. I want to see some more screens, man. That was not used enough last year when you have plenty of capable players. Quez Watkins, they gave him 3 straight screens against the Falcons week 1 last year. He had success. I think 2 of those screens were first downs. Kenny Gainwell is capable of using this. You're capable of using Kenny Gainwell in the screen game as well. Miles Sanders is also capable of that. Now, granted, Jalen Rager's gone, but I don't think we're losing much in terms of that. But that's going to be an interesting dynamic. Speaking of which, you have him and Justin Jefferson on the same team now. I think that's going to be interesting. But nonetheless, I think opportunity is at the Eagles' fingertips as a whole. But in terms of Devontae Smith, as he's going to do what the Eagles give him. How often Jalen Hurts throws him the football, because there is nobody on that Lions secondary that is capable of covering this kid. So long as he continues to show example after example that he's getting open with ease, you have to you basically have to feed the receiver that the defense can't cover. I mean, if you boil it down to elementary aspects, the Eagles are going to have their way with the Lions because, point blank, their secondary just isn't good enough to cover our receivers.
Yeah, you have a 1,000% right there. Slay, my guy, you mentioned Devontae. You saw, everyone's sleeping on him. You think he's gonna have a big game today?
Thumbs up, man. Thumbs up, bro. Like the picture, bro. Thumbs up. I got you, dog. Hell yeah. Smitty gonna have a great day. My goodness. Anyway,
I
though,
thought you was a Cowboys fan. You up in the Eagles? What you watching Eagles YouTube for? Where did we go wrong here, Cole's Cowboy?
I think Devontae Smith gonna have about 100 yards in this game, and his gonna probably be at least a touchdown. Because he's a slashing receiver. He's gonna beat you in any which way he can. He's got those double routes he can beat you on, those post corners. Like if the Eagles want to hit him with the post corner and just tell him to go do that, dude, he's gonna go do it, and he's gonna go do it really well. That's one thing about Smitty. Like he just does what the coaches say, and he'll go do it, bro. And that's what I like about Smitty. And it's like I think with him, it's like Lindy pointed out. There's really no one that could cover him in that secondary. And if you let him break away in that middle of the field and you let him get hot, that's not fair for the secondary. And that's just going to only open up guys like A.J. Brown. And this is why getting A.J. Brown is big for us, because now it's pick or choose. Who are you going to stop? Are you going to stop one guy? Are you going to stop this guy? Like, come on. And that's just going to only help us out, because that'll leave more guys open now. Quez Watkins, Pascal, Goddard, like that's not fair. So that's what I like about this offense. But Smitty's gonna definitely have a great day. Just because of like all this noise about AJ Brown, I think he's remembering like they forgot about this dude. They forgot that he was the only receiver in Eagles history or not the only, but he passed Deshaun Jackson for the rookie receiving record right now for the Eagles. And he's got a chip on his shoulder, man. People are saying Jalen Waddle was better than him. I think that's cap. Jalen Waddle was in an offense where he got the ball a lot. He got more receptions. And guess what? Devontae Smith got less receptions. And Jalen Waddle only had like 40, 50 yards more. So explain that to me. Like, how does that happen for people that want to just ride the hell out of Jalen Waddle? Like, I'm not saying he sucks, but y'all better have some damn facts when y'all say he's better than Devontae Smith, because that's all I be hearing from Dolphins fans. He's better than Devontae Smith. Like, he got more receptions. And
we're crisscross style. That's what's up.
A little bit more. Like, so that's my point.
I think what we need to remember, though, so we don't forget, this is ultimately going to come down to how pass happy Shane Steichen wants to be in his play calling with Jalen Hurts. How often, he's going to have him throw the football. But of course, again, that's going to dictate how the Lions play us defensively. Again, it's a pick your poison situation. But so long as we come in with a game plan that can take advantage of the Lions' weaknesses, the Eagles have the potential to do whatever they want.
Absolutely.
Shay, let me get your thoughts. Do you see Devontae Smith having a big day today?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Who's covering him? Like, I'm Jeff Okuda? Buddha Kuda?
That boy's booty.
My boy is
Logan would like to argue that with you,
is
but go on.
barbecue. Hey, man, bearing injury or whatever, some unforeseen circumstance, that's barbecue chicken for Devontae Smith. And that's going to be a common theme this year for him. Because he doesn't have to go against number one corners anymore, at least unless, as long as A.J. Brown's on the field. And, man, you talk about a route merchant with A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith is the epitome of a route merchant. That man gets open like few people do in this league, and I think you're going to see that this year too, especially going against these cornerback twos. Yeah, man, he's going to feast.
Oh yeah, I believe it, man. And that was a great point you made. Last year Devontae was facing number one, corner, and still, holding his own. This year he's going against backups all year, so he's gonna do some work. Let me talk to the regional Jaguars fan of football, Dante. And before I go out, shout out to all the Cowboys fans who say they don't like the Eagles, but yet always love to come onto the channel and watch.
Hold on, let me piss them off. Let me piss them off real quick. Piss them off. I'm gonna throw this on too.
Don't do it to him.
Nah.
Please don't. Let me do this. I'm a man of many jerseys.
That is.
There we go.
Work, sir.
Come on, dog.
How you like that?
That is real nasty.
That's ugly,
keeping
man.
the Jags
That
tattoo. I
shit's
respect
ugly.
the hell out of it.
That is.
Come on,
How you like that? Just to confuse you. Hold on. I'll pull the Brunel up on it too.
I was hoping that was going to be a Des
Just
Bryant too. I saw the 88.
Oh, man.
Nah,
That's how my closet of NBA jerseys are.
Hey, it is what it is. Like, look at this, man.
Yeah, they said that
You play fantasy football, right?
In our chat, right? That's crazy, Vic.
They play fantasy football, right?
They always talking about how their team's the best, but yet they don't ever go on their spaces. They don't ever support their own teams. If anything, they've been supporting the Eagles for the longest time.
They were mad.
You
know what they were
they
mad
just
about?
want to be fans.
You know what?
They just want to be
real.
You know what's the new thing they were mad about, Vic? They were mad that we had a hype video.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Come on, bro. You feel that threatened that you so mad we got a fucking hype video?
Well,
Everybody
listen.
does a hype video.
If you've been frozen,
the hype video, which is terrible. But
if you've been frozen out of the Super Bowl for the past 26, going on 27 years, most definitely we're going on 27 years, and you've only sniffed the playoffs, 3 times and won once in the past 26 years, I'd be a little salty too. So Cowboys fans, man, enjoy your day. Have a good one. Just know we're going to dominate you all year. And when we do, expect the meme. Expect the receipts to come out. We got you. But let's go on. Let's focus on a more important team. Let's focus on the Detroit Lions.
That man got a whole blanket over there. God,
this ain't even half of them, bro.
What the hell?
Here comes the mobile fanatics shot at the
jersey
bottom.
amongst that.
Right.
I find it hilarious the same people who make those comments when you ask them who's your college team, they'll list 7 college teams and they say they follow all of them.
ECG, why are you wearing the Ops jerseys right now, bro? You're in Eagles territory, bro. This is the Ops jerseys, bro.
He's got
Take
all
that
the
shit
Ops
off.
jerseys.
You know what I'm
Even
saying?
the Andrew Luck you're a Jags fan. That's
Shout out to that man for being in the
Got
College
him.
Football Hall of Fame, by the way.
But let them know how it
Right.
goes. You're a football fan in general.
They play college football, or they play fantasy football, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
Such a
exactly.
fan, don't play fantasy football and root for other people on different teams. Y'all are so damn ignorant, small-minded. Never mind. Let's move on to the question. Do I see a big day for Devontae Smith? I think it all depends on how AJ Brown does. Could you possibly have two 100-yard receivers? I think it's possible. I think it's possible with the dynamic of this team where you could have an amazing day against Detroit. Because like you were saying, Jeff Okudah. No, I don't have a Jeff Okudah jersey for the haters.
But it's coming. It's on the way.
So,
Expect it in 3 to 5 business days. I can't speak.
oh man, hold on. Let me go get my wife's debit card.
Right?
Who's
Yo, move on with the damn question.
Maybe
but-
you saw it on
I
Disney.
think-
I think it's possible to have three 100-yard receivers in today's game.
Yeah.
3.
Devontae Adams, Dallas Goedert, and AJ Brown.
Devontae Smith even.
Devontae
Or
Adams.
I said Adams.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith.
I didn't know
I'm
we
messing
had
with you.
Devontae Adams.
we have a lot of Devontaes and a lot
I
of
had to mess
Devontaes and
with you
Jalen.
before the ops
Yeah, a
got
lot of
to you. I had to
Devontae, a
do
lot
it.
of Jalen's floating around.
I didn't know we had the best receiver in the game, Vic. I didn't know that.
But I think it's
You got
quite
that Cooper
possible
Kupp.
because
We got
what are they gonna do? Who's playing safety for the Lions right now? They let their best safety.
Amani Warrior, I think.
And are we gonna say
you got what's his name? Is it Elliott?
Deshaun Elliott from the Ravens.
Deshaun Elliott? Yeah, but they ain't Quandre Diggs.
They're not Quandre Diggs. Nope.
So
Armani Warrior was not no slouch though last year. I'm not
No,
even
he was
lying. He
good.
played
the
amazing.
best
right?
part of the Lions defense is their linebacking core. That's it.
Mhm.
Oh, facts. What's his name? Onzule or something like that? Onzulane? I don't fucking know how to say it. But like,
Ansel.
I like
Yeah.
They got
And
their front seven has had some good young talent. You know, besides Hudson, they got Liam McNeil. It's pretty good, and then the interior too.
mhm.
Yeah.
So with
And
that
like you
being
was about to
said,
mention with Aiden Hutchinson, he got his hands full today because whatever side he's on, he's going to have to deal with a a future Hall of Famer, or someone who's on that road with Jordan Mailata. So he's gonna have to bring his lunch pail to work today.
Lane Johnson is gonna bully.
Bro,
Aiden.
Lane Johnson is primed to have a huge year, dude. They say he's been looking really explosive.
Now I'm playing for safety on the Lions right now. Damn.
now but straight up though, like Aiden Hutchinson's gonna have a tough day, regardless of who's starting where on your offensive line. And this is either gonna iron sharpens iron for him, or it's gonna completely ruin his confidence for the rest of the season with the Lions. Like, let me tell you. Because the first week of like actual NFL play, you've heard it from time and time again about players. Some people just do not recover. They don't recover for the speed of the game and everything that they're going to experience, how violent it is their very first week. And then these are the players that we end up saying, oh, they're bust. Jeff Okudah, for example, he got toasted his first week. Absolutely demolished. He ain't never been the same ever since. So, you know,
What's that mean? Man, I'm getting toasted.
I'm getting
I'm getting cooked. Yeah.
Cook, that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm out here getting cooked. So yeah, man. I expect both. You know, ceiling. I expect Goddard, Devontae Smith, and AJ Brown to have 100-yard days. I think that's their potential on this defense. Just looking at it on paper. Realistically, I think AJ gets 100 and a touchdown. I think Devontae gets about 60 or 70 yards. I think Dallas Goedert hangs around like 50 or 60 yards. I think that's how it works out for today. Because you know Jalen gonna get his in the running game. So, and Aiden Hutchinson is gonna have a wild day. Even if he gets through, you stopping Russell Wilson Jr., man. Like that's gonna be
that.
tough.
Yo, chill.
Don't say that.
Oh, Jill. Oh,
chill.
hold up.
Yo, buddy,
I'm sorry.
chill.
Don't have me get the Russell Wilson jersey too.
Yo, buddy.
You gotta come down.
Papa, you've been quiet for a while. Let me get your thoughts. You think Devontae is going to have a big day today?
Yeah. I'm also gonna go back to the AJ Brown because I got by the Spies. They kicked me out. So real quick, just go back to the AJ Brown thing. I think he will have a good game. Jalen's if you go back and look at him in college, Jalen always kind of needed that physical receiver. Not even the big physical guy like a DK Metcalf, but he needed a physical receiver. You saw it with CeeDee Lamb in Oklahoma. So now you're getting that with A.J. Brown, who quite literally could take a 5 yards in route and then go 75 yards for a touchdown because he's just that tough. He's able to bear through. And like Dante said, there were times where he made Ryan Tannehill look good. That's the receiver making your quarterback look good. So to go with Devontae Smith, yeah, I think Devontae Smith will have a good day. I can agree somewhat with what Dante was saying. On paper, you can expect these guys to get like 100 yards maybe with this defense because this Detroit Lions secondary is bad. And I mean, Devontae's just smooth with route running. I don't want to say like, when I say this, I'm not comparing him to Stephon Diggs, not at all. But we can all agree Stephon Diggs is one of the smoothest route runners in the NFL, in the league right now, correct?
Facts.
Again, not comparing him to Stephon Diggs, because I know people are lurking in here about to clip this shit. But, I mean, he can be a very smooth route runner. He can be a top 5, I'm not saying this year, but his potential is he could be a top 5 route runner. Because he's got that potential. And then again, A.J. Brown's just your physical receiver. So yeah, I do expect both of them to have a big day. And of course, Goddard, I don't know if we'll talk about him later, but Dante brought him up. Goddard, that's just going to be your safety blanket. And then you can also mix in a little bit of Watkins and Pascal. If Pascal's in there, that's an extra blocker right off the bat. He can catch and he can block.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Vic, I want to point this out right quick because I know Logan was talking about this a couple weeks ago. Like with Justin Jefferson, I don't know, man. Like, is it more of Jefferson's route running or is it like his complete burst? Because some receivers, they're just naturally fast off their line, bro. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just like complete route running with Justin Jefferson. Like sometimes his routes be hella sloppy. Like, and I'll be noticing it.
But with Jefferson, it's that he has it all. He has the size,
Yeah.
he has the strength, he has the route running, he has the hands down. He is a complete receiver. You just got to put him in a great position, and Minnesota has been doing that.
Hey, Vic, I gotta drop off, man, so I can get to this venue to watch this game. You know, I'm in.
All right.
Yeah, man.
I got lucky and found a whole Eagles thing going on in Durham, so I'm about to hit that shit up.
Hey, man, appreciate you for coming through, and everybody that's watching right now, go on, find Shea W. Look him up. My guy is controlling the Twitter spaces when it comes to the Eagles. He is representing us
What's your
the
Twitter?
best way possible. Thank you, my guy. I appreciate you for coming through.
My Twitter is Con Mozambique 1. CON. I gotta spell Mozambique. MOZAMBIQUE 1. That's me.
I got you.
Oh, and you can find all his information in the description to today's show, just like everyone on the panel. You can find all their social, all the YouTube information right there. Look them up. Like I said, hit that subscribe button and follow my guy Shay because he is holding it down for Eagles Twitter. Appreciate you for coming through, my guy.
Hey, man, appreciate you for having me, guy. Hey, man.
Right,
Yeah.
man. Have a good one. Have a good one.
We'll be on the winning side later on, brothers.
Oh, definitely.
All right, guys.
All right. And shout out to my guy Nightings, man. Listen, you late, but you never not on time. It's perfectly fine. The fact that you took time out to come through, I appreciate so much. But gentlemen, we talked about the Eagles ad nauseum right now. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the Lions. Papa, I'll start off with you. What are your thoughts on the Detroit Lions?
I mean, I said it in our record prediction. Right? Yeah, definitely said it with our record prediction. I think they'll be a tougher team than they were last year. I mean, they were the most competitive losing team last year. I do expect them to look good this year. I'm not a fan of Aiden Hutchinson. I think he just has that one move that can easily be shut down, and that was it. I think he was the one-year wonder in college. Everybody got excited. It was a pick to get the fans in the stands. You know, hometown kid comes, plays for the big NFL team. You know, hoorah, we're selling tickets now. I think Okuda, he's, to quote Coach, that man is booty butt. So, I mean, I do think they need work. I do like their offense. However, their offensive line today is in shambles right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think Either way,
is there like
even
an
if they were
injury?
all healthy, I still think we would beat them. But I do think we caught them at a bad time as well. Because I mean,
Did they get like an
they've
injury
got a
or
lot of
something?
injuries.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just about to ask you, did they get an injury or something? Like, I'm like hella confused.
There's like, I'll have to look back and obviously mute my mic because everything I own is loud apparently. Fucking Razer. But yeah, there's like I've seen like their O-line is decimated right now.
Yo, Vic, I cannot wait to see Darius Slay versus DJ Chark today, bro. That's gonna be a good matchup. I'm not even gonna lie.
Listen, I'm just hoping that Slay's fully healthy. Again, I know it was a
Yeah.
while ago, but when he went up against Tyreek Hill and he had that little knee trouble, listen, I don't want that something to linger on throughout the year. Just like we said before about Miles Sanders. If you don't feel like you're 100% to go, stay off the field. There's no reason to risk you for the whole year. But Dante, let me get your thoughts. What do you think about the Detroit Lions coming into today?
I think that there's a ton of hype around them, man. There's a lot to be excited for as far as their coaching staff has been really the way they put them together has been awesome. I mean, as far as if you're talking about getting guys motivated, I mean they still have to play. You can't say that their coaching staff is not one of the best with all the pieces that they put around. I don't know if you guys have seen the clip of Deuce Staley just completely losing his mind, losing his
Our
voice as
former running
well.
back coach, yeah.
Those guys, they care. They care. And now it's up to the players to prove that they care about their coaches as much as the coaches care about them now. Like, I mean, you're in the NFL for a reason. You guys are no slouch. I mean, they made it there. And I can honestly say one thing. That team has put together the best players that they have as far as depth chart, where they're at on the depth chart. If you slouched off, you are not going to start. And I think that's just how much that coaching staff cares. It's not, oh, he's got a lot of talent, just put him at number one. No, if you worked your ass off, if you're with the system, if you believe in yourself and believe in your teammates, wherever your roster spot is where we put you for an exact reason on all of those things across the board. So I think, with the way that Dan Campbell and the rest of their coaching staff has been, I know you guys have probably seen clips from Hard Knocks. They are tired of Detroit being the laughing stock of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, say what you want about Jacksonville. We've had really good ups and really good downs. We don't have the history that Detroit has, but Detroit has just been statistically bad year after year after year after year, from their front office just treating Megatron like complete crap to them treating their players like crap to everything. So I don't know, man. It's I think it's a lot to be excited about. I think if they win this game against the Eagles, it's going to be a huge confidence boost. Like, I think the Lions might be scary if they win this game, because it's going to be like, we believed in ourselves, we put this thing together. I don't know if I foresee that happening, but if any, and I hate to say this with all you Eagles fans, but if I had to look at all the games today as I had the schedule up here, if anybody was kind of on an upset alert, and somebody would probably say the Cowboys and the Buccaneers, which I don't think that's like an upset alert game, or the Seahawks and the Broncos, just because of the atmosphere there. I think anybody that's on upset alert is the Eagles, and it's going to look really bad if they do. So,
Yo, you're scaring me, bro. You're scaring
I
me.
just go back to what I said. There's a lot of pressure on you guys, and there's a lot of hope for the Lions. And sometimes though too, and those matchups don't mix well together, because one team is going to come out worse than the other one, and it's going to be the Eagles. Even if it's close, people are going to be like, "How do we keep it close against the Lions?" Like I can see Twitter right now. So
Listen, a wise man once said, "Hope is for suckers." It's me. I'm the wise man. Hope is for suckers.
Hey, but let's be honest. If this would have been during the season, we would call this a trap game, a possible trap game.
Oh, absolutely.
That's literally what it
Called
is.
it that last season.
And just to keep you updated, it was the Lions offensive guard, Tommy Kramer, that will be out. Also, defensive lineman will be out. I can't pronounce his last name, and I won't embarrass myself.
I thought he was the old Eagles guard, the Hawaiian guy.
You're talking about V.
You gotta
I
go
he was
quick
also
when you
out.
say his last name. Bye-tie.
Yeah, Vitae.
Big V.
But
The
yeah,
Hawaiian dude.
Big V got injured during training camp, but I think he's okay to play today.
Oh, is he back?
He
Okay.
wasn't
Then
listed.
never mind.
Yeah,
Their O line isn't as
it's only
decimated as
Tommy
I thought it
Creamer. He's
was.
the only one listed on there at the front line to have an
Gotcha.
injury.
No, Big V's on IR.
Is he?
Yes.
Matter of fact, as I scroll, I see his name right there. Yep.
I'm so confused.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's,
before I
right,
say
you're
this,
it's
right.
undisclosed. It's an
Yeah.
undisclosed injury. He's supposed to be out for at least the first 4 weeks. The
Very, very
Lions
confused.
inactives. The Lions inactives today. Tommy Kramer got 2 DBs: Chase Lewis, Ifeatu Melifonwu, James Mitchell, a tight end, Demetrius Taylor for the D line. So, yeah, they're. I would say they're hurting most on the offensive line, especially that Big V goes over to Detroit. He gets himself a contract. He just continued his journey in the NFL and improving at his position. With us remembering him, being involved in the Super Bowl year and whatnot, and building onto that. So he's going to be a big loss for the Lions, but yeah, nonetheless, that's where they're at right now.
Yo,
Yeah,
Darius
he was
Slay
a
got
big loss for
a
us. It
little
was just at
problem.
the time we weren't trying to pay for him. That was the issue.
Darius Slay smile though. Hold up, he got the
Yep.
smile of like a 10-year-old or something. Like that's a good compliment, by the way, Slay.
Hey, well, let me ask a question because his name has been mentioned, and I think he's an upcoming talent. So let me ask: Amon St. Brown has emerged as the Detroit Lions #1. Tell me why the Eagles' defense should be concerned with him.
I'll
me start
go
off with you,
first on this
Dante.
one and get it out the
I'll
way.
start off with you.
I said it's on record that I thought he was a top 3 receiver coming out of the draft in 2020
That's
or
cap.
2021. That's not cap. You can
No,
go
I'm
watch.
playing with you. I'm playing with you,
That's
bro.
not cap.
I'm playing with you, ECC.
And the reason why you guys should be concerned is because of the stigma that he had to start from the number 4 wide receiver in the depth chart to number 1 right now. He has nothing to lose either. And he's going to play lights out, man, for the Detroit Lions. I don't know if it's going to be this game where he really shows up, but the talent level that he has, sure hands, underrated route runner, more physical than what people give him credit for. I think it should be a concern because he's an anomaly. There's not a lot of tape on him. What you going to do, watch the last 4 games of the season when he showed up? When they put him on the roster? He wasn't lining up on the Z at all. I mean, he was like in the X and then, in the slot. Now he's going to be lined up on the outside. So, Slay, I hope you didn't underestimate him. I hope you watch film on the guy.
Hell no.
I hope you watch film on the guy because he was pretty incredible the last 4 games of the season. And I had drafted you. I had hope in you. And then halfway through the season, I dropped you from my fantasy team. My wife picked you up and won the fantasy league last year.
We don't talk about that.
But
So yeah, we don't talk about
that. DJ Chark, look, DJ Chark is gonna go up against Amon-Ra, and I'll be the first to say it. I think DJ's a better overall player than Amon-Ra. I just feel like
You're crazy
because of how good Amon-Ra played last year. They're just gonna say he's better.
I
But
love
DJ
DJ
Chark
Chark.
is the better player. Like
I
we
love
shouldn't-
DJ Chark all day. He is not a
I don't
Amon-Ra
know,
St.
man. You
Brown.
bugging.
Well,
Go
let me
watch
hear
the tape
from
on
you,
Amon-Ra
Slay.
St. Brown, bro.
Let me hear it from you. Tell us what the Eagles defense should be concerned about Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I think you should be worried about his versatility. That's the thing. He can line up anywhere. And that's something that is very scary. Because when you got a guy that could play in the nickel, I'm not in the nickel, in the slot, and the Z now, and the X because of how good he played last year, you got to be worried about that. And that comes with rollouts, play action. I hate that junk, but it's gonna probably happen here and there because the Lions definitely like to do that with Jared Goff. They would like that, rollout stuff right there. And they like to just, get him out the play action, kind of roll him out for a second and then just get it to their receivers in the middle of the field. They did that a lot last year, and that's a key place where what's his name, Jared Goff, he really does well and he excels. Those play actions. So we have to worry about that. And I think we just have to worry about the fact that Amon-Ra can go in the slot, and if they want to try those post corners, we ran a lot of quarters last year, I think. because we played a lot of disguise cover fours, but we didn't try to do it too much. Like we did it here and there. We wasn't set to one defense, but we shown that we could do it last year. So try not to run a lot of quarters, because Amon Ra could definitely take the top off the field. And let's not act like they don't have Khalif Raymond. Like Khalif Raymond is a solid 3 on any other team. And TJ Hawkinson, they'll open up a lot of places for these guys to get the ball. So that's what I'm scared about with Amon Ra.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I think the kid can do it all. I think, like I said, he's an emerging talent. He is going to be a receiver that you will be hearing, and I think he's going to be one of the reasons that Detroit, that team, they're going to turn everything around. He's
Actually,
their
hold
number
up.
one guy.
I'll take back what I said. I don't think DJ's a better player.
Wait, say it again.
I
Say
think,
it one more
I
time.
think
For you
he's
at
better
home. What
in
you
a couple
say?
There it
areas.
is.
He's better in
I'ma
a
take
couple
that.
areas. He's better in a
Listen,
couple areas. He's better.
you are called Big Play Slave for a reason because you have the
Because
greatest.
I always be flip flopping my takes, because I always got to remember, DJ is better in a couple areas, but Amon Ra can beat him in a couple areas. It's like route running. I don't know who that.
Amon Ra is a physical specimen. That kid can get out there fast, great hand. He can do a lot of things. He can hurt you in a lot of ways.
Amon-Ra St. Brown does a lot more better than
That's what I'm
DJ
saying.
Chark. I
That's
love
the thing
DJ
that
Chark.
scares me.
Believe me, I do. But do you think Jared Goff is going to be throwing 50 yards downfield to DJ Chark every play?
Nah.
Absolutely not. I mean, it just is what it is.
Lindy, let me get your thoughts. Why should the Eagles defense be concerned with Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I don't think it's a concern on him entirely. If I can be more specific on that, Amon did not activate, so to speak, last year until about the second half of the season. Anthony Lynn just could not get it together as a coordinator. He eventually lost his privileges. The Lions weren't schematically. The Lions weren't up to par, on expectations, until they gave the reins over to a new coordinator this year, in Ben Johnson, who has done a better job in getting his guys acclimated. Helping out the quarterback. Jared Goff is a quarterback that you're not going to want him to have the football more. You're not going to want the football in his hands more often than he should, especially when you're going up front. When you're going up against the defensive front that the Eagles have, so they may want to utilize the quick game there. But I think it's also the receivers that complement St. Brown at the same time. If we have known in the past, when we first got Darius Slade, we've watched him have trouble with receivers. Such as DK Metcalf, a strong, fast specimen that that can take you downfield. He's really hard to tackle, much like AJ Brown is. We've seen Slay struggle with those kind of guys. So is he going to be stuck or relegated to covering a guy like DJ Chark to try and break up some of those 50-50 chances downfield? Are you gonna have him shadow a guy like St. Brown? But I think where it comes in that the Eagles defense, or that the Eagles as a whole, did a good job of, is creating a better versatility with their secondary. You're going to see guys like CJ Gardner Johnson come down, because his capability as a safety. He reminds me of what Jim Schwartz used to do with Malcolm Jenkins, in putting him all over the field when necessary. He's physical enough to cover tight ends. He's fast enough in a pinch to where you need to have safety help over the top to break up a pass if he needs to help in double coverage. But We'll see how the Eagles match up against these guys. I'm not overly concerned about St. Brown. Again, I need to watch how Ben Johnson schemes these guys. But when you talk about matchups, the Eagles secondary is a lot better off than what the Lions secondary is. These are receivers that are going to get theirs. But again, it's going to come down to matchups. So I don't know who they're going to. I don't know if they're going to have somebody on St. Brown full time, or if it's going to be swapped out over the course of the game. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But again, like Dante has been advertising for Amon here. He is no slouch. You do have to put him into consideration. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Oh, we definitely will, man. Like I said, the kid is very talented. It's going to be something to see on how they control him. But Papa, let me get your thoughts. Why should the Eagles be concerned with Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what everybody's been saying. There wasn't a lot of tape on him. Like, obviously, the last 4 games, that's kind of when he popped out. So I don't know if they're going to look at DJ Chark and be like, this is the guy we need to double cover, or I don't know. I mean, you can't rule out St. Brown at all, because, I mean, that dude did look good in college. And, again, the last 4 games when they actually kind of finally started using him correctly, he showed what he was capable of. So, I mean, he is a very good slept-on receiver who's just waiting to come out. Pause. I had to, man. But yeah, kind of like what Lindley said as well. I'm not expecting, like I expect for St. Brown, it's gonna be Slay covering him obviously, and then Gardner with the safety help. And I'm not expecting Gardner to like have a big game considering the fact that he just got here.
Yeah.
But I mean, people are freaking out because they're like, oh, he played they're like, oh, he played nickel cornerback for the Saints. He barely played any safety. But safety was his main position in college, and he's able to play both. And he's able to play both very well. So go back and look at his film on college. Go back and look at the Peach Bowl against Michigan. Gardner went off that game. Because I was saying, again, I said this before, and I wish I was on, or I knew you guys during that draft. I said before, I was like, in the draft, man, the Eagles are going to, with their 2 second-round picks, they're going to draft Miles Sanders, and they're going to draft Chauncey Gardner. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They got Sanders. I was like, I told you. It's coming true. GM profit. And then they selected J. John. I went, who the fuck that guy? I went, that's not at all who I thought it was.
Well, I did want to say something about,
It's a long time coming, and I'm very happy for it.
Amon-Ra St. Brown had like a top 10 catch percentage last year. I mean, by the end of the year, he was at a 75, but he constantly had 81, 72, 80 towards the end of the season. So all the targets that he's getting, he usually comes out with a catch. All his touchdowns came at the end of the season. And the dude almost had 1,000 yards. He was at 900 and something. So it was like a silent, like, great year for a first round, a wide receiver that nobody expected that came out in the 4th round, and had a really good year. So yeah, 90 catches, 912 yards. He's a dog, man.
Listen, he caught on fast for me because again, Detroit, they really didn't have anyone except for the next guy I'll mention, but their running back, was doing well. Detroit really didn't have anything going for them in receiver in the passing game. But then as the season went on, you just hear everyone keep on talking about St. Brown. Great pickup. Because that's how I heard about him, through fantasy. Because everyone keeps on talking about this kid. He's going to be a great pickup. And then he blows up. Like you said, he's a 4th rounder with 1st round, talent. I could only see his ceiling rise. I could only see his playing level rise as the season goes on. Again, it's a lot of people talk about Jared Goff and how bad he was. But he looked pretty damn good last year. Let's let's put our cards on the table. A lot of people like to talk about, like to trash him, but he looked a whole lot better than what he did with LA. And he took command of that team. And St. Brown was a big reason why he looked good. But we're winding down the show. We got about 15 minutes left. I got about 3 questions left. And we talked about it before. I didn't want to mention his name because I don't want to allude to it. But let me get everyone's thoughts on DeAndre Swift. We all know that he was injured, but he was probably the best back in the first 6 weeks of last season. He's coming in today in Philadelphia. You think Philly can keep him in check? We got the new linebacking core. We have a new defensive line. We know about the rotation. But, Papa, let me start off with you. Can the Eagles keep DeAndre Swift in check today?
Yeah, we we should be able to keep DeAndre. I mean, hell, we kept him in check the last couple of times we played. Swift to me, he's like a roller coaster. He'll have his good weeks, and then it's his weeks where it's like, where'd he go? Why he like that? He gone. But I do think we should be able to handle him. Obviously, he'll still get good runs on us, but I don't think he's gonna go off like some people are wanting to say.
Well, we'll see. Let me get your thoughts. What do you think, Dante? Is DeAndre Swift someone that the Eagles defense can keep in check?
I don't know, because I think one of the most underrated qualities about DeAndre Swift is that
His
he's a
blocking.
two-headed monster. No, it's not his blocking. He's a two-headed monster. I mean, the dude had 1,000 yards between catching and running the ball, which, to me, he reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara, and he doesn't get enough credit for that. But he can't stay healthy. He's only played 26 games in his career, 13 his first year, 13 his second year. So if he stays healthy, he can get well beyond 1,000 yards in both. But like, you got to watch out for for the guy. Like, he can come out of the backfield, catch a pass, and run to the house with it. I think people are expecting a big year out of him because of the fact that there's so much hype around this team too, and they expect him to be an X factor with all the weapons that they've added. And it's a lot easier. And he's on a progression, right? It's a slow progression, but every single year he played 13 games his first year, and he got the stats that he got. And then last year he increased those stats within playing 13 games. So the projection from him is going up. It's a slow curve, but it's going up. So I think right now this is where people start peaking in their third year. Like, oh man, when you start hearing about stuff, a lot of outside of us, a lot of people are like, first year they're already on the train, and the second year they suck, and they're like, I don't know why I was so hyped up on them. But we're seeing a slow progression, a slow curve, and the third year is when you really should start getting excited about a player, and he should start feeling really comfortable. I think I've always seen it, that happen. I'm really critical of quarterbacks like that, so I can only assume that DeAndre Swift's third year is going to be special with all the chemistry they got on this team. And his backup is Jamal Williams, man. Jamal Williams is no joke.
Well, Jamal Williams won't be playing if I'm not mistaken. Isn't he injured as well?
I'm just saying the presence of him being part of that running back core.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
he's a great leader.
A lot to handle. I think he's a very good running back. Again, what we talked about before, when healthy, when on the field, he's a great talent. Like we said, first 6 games last season, he was killing it. It was only that his injury held him back. But Slay, let me get your thoughts. Can the Eagles defense keep Swift in check?
I think we could. I mean, we did it last year, so I expect us to. But he's all around back, so I think with him, it's just about like remembering that he can receive the ball too. So if he can receive the ball, then you gotta make sure about that too. But we got Kaiser White now, so I'm not worried about that. Now it comes down to the D-line. It comes down to the D-line. I think with the D-line, it's about Reddick stopping him on the outside on those like power pitches, and then anything up the middle. Davis and Fletcher Cox. No, not Davis. Hargrave and Davis. Not Davis. Why do I keep saying his name? It's big dude, bro. Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, bro. Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave. I meant to say, yo.
You had to run out a whole defensive line. I know where you're going.
I'm good. But yeah, man. It's really about just the middle and the outside. Don't let him get anywhere on the outside because he can do work. He can definitely do his magic. And yeah, Dante pointed up the fact that like they got new weapons now, so don't want to let him, get anything down the field. So just gotta remember, like, if these receivers ain't getting open, they still have him and they can give the ball to him. So I'm definitely worried about that. But I'm not really, really worried, but I'm worried in a way that he could still do damage sort of like middle of the field. But I want to say something right quick because I seen the notification about the Niners and the Bears. I think that Niners and Bears game, I think Lance and Fields, I want to make this a take because I think this will come back in the future. I think this Lance Fields game, for especially in Soldier Field, will be one of the best week one quarterback showdowns of like their own class. Like remember Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz? I think it'll be that way too. I think we'll remember that game for like the
We'll
history
see,
book.
but they're gonna have to
Did you
make
see
sure
the football field?
Oh,
Yeah, but
that's why. That's the reason
I
why.
was gonna say that's not gonna be a quarterback game, bro. That's gonna be a running game.
It's because of the football field. That's the
No, it's gonna
reason
be a
why.
sliding game.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
even if
reason
they don't
why.
if they postpone it though. You got to think about that too. There's a possibility of postponement. We're pressing less than 10 minutes to start time. They got to get taking care of that field pretty fast. And I don't know
My
if
guy, they have the snow shovels out there trying to get the
And
players
that's
out.
why I think it'll be a
it's not
good
looking
game.
good for them. But
That's
let
why
me
I
ask
think we'll
Lindy right quick. What do you think about DeAndre Swift? Is he someone that the Eagles defense can keep in check?
Oh yeah, I definitely believe so. I mean, when you look at the upgrades the Eagles did, especially on the the linebacking core, you got T.J. Edwards, who is already a great run defender. You look at him, you look at Kaiser White, the defensive front that we have, across the front seven with our tackles. We already see an example of what Jordan Davis can do when he's out there and completely clog any lanes if the lines are going to go inside zone or something, try and pound it up the middle, because that seems like the type of head coach that Dan Campbell is, and going after the kneecaps and everything, wants to devour our kneecaps. And, that's just with this defensive line, that's just not going to happen. And I hope to potentially see a dynamic between Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean in this game. Try and get those two playing off of each other, clog those lanes, don't allow the Lions to do anything. Make sure to keep the ball in Jared Goff's hands for as long as possible, because he's not one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league. So I think so long as the Eagles can devour the Lions up front with their weakened offensive line, that's not going to do the Lions any favors in terms of running the football. But if they're in a position where the Lions cannot get their receivers active enough and they have to split Swift out there, then I think that's one aspect that could haunt Philly a little bit. But I'm not worried about it.
Hey, looks good. Let me ask one more question. This is a lightning round for everyone. Are we sleeping on Jared Goff?
No,
Dante, I think you should take that first.
no, you're not.
No?
So here's the thing. When did we see the progression of let's be honest here. When did we see the progression of Jared Goff to really start to get bad? When Tyler Gurley was being injured every single year and he was on a downslope projection. So let's be real here. Like, we can't say that the dude was terrible, but he did have a really good supporting cast at running back. Mm-hmm. Now, if we're talking about the projection of DeAndre Swift being good, I think you start seeing Jared Goff's projection start being good. But who knows? He's on a totally different team. Sean McVay is not his coach anymore. I don't think we're sleeping on him, but I still think he's middle of the road. He can crack the top 15 on a really good year, and I think that's just where he's at. I think the 15th and 16th is where his ceiling is, but his floor is really low. I mean, if you don't have the weapons around you, especially at running back, that do really well, you're going to see what happened in the collapse like with Tyler Gurley. I just think I think Jared Goff is what you've seen that he is. He's not going to get better, but he can only get worse now.
Ooh, I can't disagree with that. But the one thing I will say about Goff is, and I like, is he was surrounded by a lot of talent in LA. And then he went to Detroit where there was basically none of that. And he still did pretty good. So as a player himself, I think a lot of people sleep on him. I think he is a lot better. Again, he wasn't fully developed. And he still isn't fully developed. And now he's going into a situation where he's pretty much on his own. Mark Brunell, he can do as much as he can for golf. I think that's probably the biggest bright spot for golf right now, having Mark Brunell. But other than that, aside of him, there's no help for him. There you go.
Hey.
But let's wrap it up, gentlemen. Let me just say I appreciate you all for coming through. I appreciate everybody who's been watching for coming through. So let's end it like this. Final scoring predictions. Papa, start off with you.
It's 28 to 14. Sure. Eagles. We'll go with that.
It's a pop quiz, Papa. Let's go.
28-14 Eagles.
I like it. Dante, final score?
Final score. 35-31.
Ooh.
Who?
Talking about some damn.
Who's
Talking
winning?
about some damn.
Hold
Talking about
on.
some damn. Our defense is gonna have an issue. Put 35 on us.
Hold
Like,
on,
the
hold
hell,
on.
or
Let me
not
think
gonna have
about
an
this.
issue
Let me
on
think
us.
about
What the
this.
hell?
I like that.
17-14. 17-14. I'll change my
35,
17-14
31. What the hell?
Detroit Lions.
Fuck
Ooh,
it.
17-14 Detroit Lions. Ooh, you heard it here first. Slay. Scoring prediction.
This dude's bugging down here. Anyway, though,
It can
30
happen.
to 13 Philly. This man's gonna come here in Eagles territory and talking about some the Lions gonna beat us. Anyway, though, 30
can
to
happen, bro.
13. I'm just playing. It's the bias in me right now. I know the Lions could beat us, but 30 to 13 Eagles. I think it's gonna be a game where the Lions hold up for a little bit and then the Eagles take away. Because of the fact that Hurst is just a really good dynamic player. And that's what's gonna hurt the Lions. You don't got anyone to stop them on the outside. So I think one of these plays today, you heard it here first. Aiden Hutchinson is gonna get shook out of his boots by Jalen Hurts, bro. He's gonna get shook. He's gonna be like, "Ooh, my ankles! I need
Look
like
at his feet.
Hey, there's still a New Orleans Saints who's looking for his ankles. He's been spending the whole offseason looking for his
They're
ankles.
still on the field.
Lindy,
Yo,
let me get your
I'm
scoring
telling you,
prediction. What do you
ECG,
think? How do you
could
think
laugh
today's
at
outcome is going to be?
Well, the over/under is 48.5. I think that's on point to the score prediction I have. I have Philly winning 31-17. The Lions are going to put up points. We got to give them credit for that. They're going to be in a better position than they were last year. I think the spread for them is like 6 or 6.5. They're a team that could potentially win 7 games. Then I had another point, and I could. Oh yeah, our last 3 matchups against Detroit, the Eagles are 1-2 against the Lions. So I think there's a little bit of urgency for us Eagles fans here to not be under 500 against the Detroit Lions. So let's see if we can even the score out today. But I do have them winning.
Oh, sounds good. Listen, for me, my final scoring prediction will be 28-10. The Philadelphia Eagles will come away victorious. Listen, fellas, again, I appreciate you all for taking the time out so early in the day to come through. Slay, you set your alarm today. Right? That in its own. That in its own deserves a round of applause, my guy. Thank you
First
so
time
much.
for everything.
Everybody, listen, today is the first week of a very spectacular season. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you all have a great day. For everyone that came on the show, for everyone that's watching the
Don't
show, for
call
everyone
me
that will be
ECG.
watching,
Don't call me,
thank
bro.
you. Hey,
Yo,
get on Slay when all his predictions go wrong. Because my
no,
guy's not better.
no, Vic.
Jaguars lose today.
That's what we not finna do, bro. ECG, don't call me if we lose, bro. I don't want to talk to you, bro.
Jacksonville loses today 35-7.
I don't want to
No,
talk
bro.
to you.
No, it's like because you tried to call me
on his
last
own
night, bro.
team.
When I was in the chat, you tried to call me last night. It's
Bro,
fair
we
ups,
both
man.
Eagles fans, though.
I don't care, bro.
Dougie P.
Hey, Ninings, my guy, appreciate you for coming through. That's right. Let's go, Birds. Everyone, enjoy the game. It's about to start off in less than a minute.
I'm
Appreciate
ignoring
y'all.
ECG.
We had a great day. This was another great episode of the Big Ticket. Just like it says, go
Deactivate
Birds,
Twitter.
fly Eagles, fly, and we'll see you next week. We out.
Arvita Beats.